We are back, episode 15 of the Split Screen Experience. I'm Andrew, joined alongside my co-host.
Hey, I'm Harmon. So in this episode, I kind of want to talk about a game that we both want to play. We had a lot of fun playing it, and we can't anymore because we were lied to. No, Evolve 2.
Oh, don't start. Don't. We can't go open out of the gate with talking about Evolve.
The game was so much fun. I enjoyed every game I played with my friends. A free-to-play game, 4v1, 4 hunters versus one big monster. Shout out Josh Bays with the big monster. And they shut it down back in 2018. And supposedly the servers, like for custom games, were still working. And we tried it like a year ago. Nothing.
Yeah. You can only play the tutorial, which those bots obviously aren't going to be up to snuff in any game really, but especially in that. It's literally the tutorial, so they can't beat you. So, and it's unfortunate because that game was fun. Like, what was it to like?
It was great. Like you had a large cast of characters too to choose from.
Mhm.
You didn't just have your like as much as you had your four core, you had your tracker, you had your heavy, you had your utility. I think it was called support, not utility. And then like your main damage. But each character was so different, or at least to me, it felt so different
Mhm.
that you could play a different character in the utility and you would be just fine. You'd feel like you're playing some new experience.
Yeah, it was genuinely super fun. Like you said, there's so much more variety in a game like that, and like we didn't even get like a full content cycle, but we got like three, I think, of each class, maybe extra, maybe two.
I think there's four. I think there's 4 or 5 in each class.
Okay, so then they added maybe one to each because I think you started with three in each. Because I know they added like Lazarus for support, who was like broken. Um, I think for Trapper, whatever. I think that's where the robot with the floating head came in. I think that was a DLC. Maybe he was a base kit. I don't remember.
He was my boy though. I enjoyed playing as him. I know you got a pretty funny story with him though.
Yeah, my friend using it for the first time, not understanding how the audio worked in that. He thought the audio was coming from his head, so he told everyone to go over to where the head was. So they followed him, and in reality, it was me staring at his body. So I just mauled him on the ground. He was like, "Damn it, I should have known." And I was like, "Well, you didn't." Goliath like, beat you down. I think that was the weakness of that game though was the lack of monster variety because like you really only had four. You had three at the start, and then they added the behemoth because you had Goliath, Wraith, Kraken, then that behemoth, and then everything else was just like a gold plated version of the base three that had slightly different stats.
And like they were all better too. I don't think they were toned down.
No. You know, it was like the Friday the 13th stuff with the Savini Jason that you only got for pre-ordering that was just way better than anything else in the game. It was like that. It was just, oh, here's these monsters, but better. Like,
Correct.
well, yeah, it's okay because that studio, Turtle Rock, can eat my dick because they are not a good team. I don't think there's talent at their team anymore. And whoever's their higher up should probably be taken out back in Old Yellard because you know what their next big game was? Another one that we really, really enjoyed so much.
I was the good old Back for Blood.
Yep. Which I was like, not Left for Dead like they said it was. It's like if you described Left for Dead to someone who's never played a video game before. It's like explaining it to the Amish. Like,
I did kind of enjoy the multiplayer though, but only when I played as the infected. I hated playing as the humans in multiplayer.
see, I never even bothered. I played through the story. I was like, this is ass, and then I left. Like, that's all I was there for.
Yeah, my group we had a good. We would always be able to get at least some people on to play the multiplayer. I don't think there was ever custom games, or if there was, we just never had enough on to do a custom game.
They probably don't exist. If we were being honest here, like,
It probably exists now.
well, I don't know because like their support got cut, so I'm pretty sure I might be talking out of my ass on that one. Like, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that they were being cut off.
That also could be true.
Because that game did not sell.
I haven't played the game like very quickly after it got released, mainly because the group I was with got to the final mission and then everyone just forgot how to play the game. Never beat it, unfortunately. And then we never went back to go beat it. So it's still sitting in the Game Pass section. uninstalled on my Xbox.
I was gonna say, isn't it technically off Game Pass now?
I think it is now, actually. Yes, you
Yeah.
are correct. I misspoke there.
Because I was gonna say that's honestly their biggest detriment was any players that they did have at that point probably were playing it because it was on pass. No one's gonna spend money on that game because it's dead in the water. And like it's not like the gameplay was just oh so fun to where you didn't need any updates. It's like with updates it could have been more Left 4 Dead-y, but you didn't. You just kind of were like, we'll put out a little bit. Like I think they kind of did like an EA thing where they like kind of half-assed a couple months and said never mind, it's not worth it. Let's just take it out back and shoot it. But yeah, that team. That team is just yeah. Out of all the teams, I hope no one acquires them. I hope they go under because of their own doing. Which all I don't know who owns them because I don't think they're freelance. Let me take a gander here.
I don't think they are. I believe someone owns them. I just don't know who.
Not saying anyone owns them.
It could be freelance then.
Oh, Tencent. No. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I think this is the thing that's like the stock market of like the Chinese Communist Party. I'm pretty sure.
That's lovely.
I'm pretty sure. I might be mistaking. I'm misspeaking here, but I'm pretty sure that's the one because they've been acquiring certain games so that way they can have the revenue just coming into them for nothing, basically.
I see. Moving on. Let's not open up that can of worms.
Let's get away from the CCP real quick. Speaking of studios, I guess we could talk about the Microsoft Studio stuff.
Them laying off like a bunch of people.
Yeah, they shut down Arcane, Tango GameWorks, and Roundhouse is getting absorbed into ZeniMax, I believe. Which don't remember what Roundhouse does. I know Arcane is famous for one thing, like we made Dishonored, which is a game I'm very hot or cold on, or not even hot or cold, like lukewarm or cold. I think they're pretty fun games. I just don't think they're for me, so I don't really care. Because their most recent game was Redfall, and as much as people want to put that onto Microsoft for being a failure, even if you look at the game for what it is, like artistically, it's ugly. Like, it's not just, well, Microsoft wanted us to make a live service game, and they ruined our creative freedom. I mean, I'm sure that didn't help, but you still made an ugly product. Like, visually ugly, doesn't run, unengaging, bad story. You had none of it right. So I can't say I'm sad to see them go, and I know it sucks. I mean, I hope all those developers land on their feet. I know that these are people and families we're talking about, but Arcane as a collective, I think, kind of needed to go.
Yeah,
I'm a little upset about Tango, though.
I did find it funny that when Phil Spencer was playing 76, someone dropped a nuke on his house.
Yeah, I did see that.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, like it's weird because like I don't want to open up the console war discussion, but I'm going to slightly here. It's interesting how just earlier this year, like in January, like January 1st or something like that, we saw Sony laid off like 10% of their total developers and shut down an entire studio in London just after seeing them for the New Year's. And that was seen as okay. It was like, oh, it's just something they had to do. But as soon as we lay off probably less than that number of people, Microsoft is the devils of the gaming community. And that's really interesting to me how it's seen as one's not okay, the one is. And to be fair, we've seen that for a while where they're like, oh, Sony bought a studio. That's super cool. Xbox buys a studio. How dare you? You can't have it both ways.
No. And I'm kind of upset that like it seems like Xbox will never get Helldivers 2. Because I have wanted to play it, but I'm not gonna go buy a PC or a PlayStation to go play it though.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you had the means to play it, you would, which is the boat I think we're both in for a couple PlayStation exclusives, but we're not dumb enough to go buy a whole other machine just for the sole purpose of playing like 2 games.
Right, because all I'd probably play is God of War and that.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not a big fan of Spider-Man games. Like they look pretty freaking awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discrediting that. I'm just not the biggest in playing a superhero game because I have had the Batman games for almost a year now, and I think I might be halfway through the first one.
Like that's like the one superhero game that I do enjoy is the like Arkham series as a whole. As much as Knight's not great in stories department, gameplay wise, it's really fun. But I don't like. Oh, but so much of the fun is just whipping around the city and doing nothing, and it's like, and that's what a ton of people do. Like post game, they literally just boot up Spider. They go home, they get home from school, they run upstairs, they boot up their PlayStation and just start swinging around as Spider Man. Which like I don't want to be like, how dare you have fun in a game? But it's like that's like your main selling point is that you can do nothing in it and it looks kind of cool. Like I was never like, oh, I'm on Arkham. I'm just gonna go gliding and just take in the views. Like not really anyway. Maybe like for a couple seconds before going back to a mission. It was just I wanted to see the story in that.
Speaking of Batman, I know how much you loved getting the Riddler,
Yeah.
little Riddler trophies.
All 365 of them or whatever.
To get the true ending, don't
Yeah.
forget that.
Yeah, if it was entirely optional just to beat up Riddler, then I don't care how many. It could be 1,000 trophies for all I care. To see the ending of the game, you had to do it. I'm like, you can fuck off. Like, no. As soon as I saw that, I googled the ending and then turned it off. It's like I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Why would I do that? I can either spend like a combined total of like 2.5 minutes by typing it into a search bar and watching it versus it would take me 2.5 minutes just to get to the next trophy I need. So, your call, game. I'm trying to think, is there any like new games coming out that you can talk about?
College football.
Yeah, but we don't know anything closer about that, right? Like we don't have like a precise date.
I thought we did.
Did we?
I'm pretty sure we do.
Let's take a gander.
I know it's the summer.
Yeah, that's the last thing I heard though. It was coming out this summer, which could be anything. Oh, here's an Xbox listing. Let's go through that. That tends to lead to some decent accuracy if it'll load. College football 25 does not have a date attached to it on here.
Oh, is it like one, like Into the Spider-Verse, where it's just kind of gonna come out, just don't know when? Because I found out recently that movie is like delayed indefinitely until like there's not even a release date for it anymore.
It'll still sell when it comes out as much as, like I don't think the second one was as good as the first one, but I hope the third one of that's good. Again, they're all visually great. I mean, I'll give them that at the very least. And like the first one is genuinely a fun movie. Second one to me is slightly less of a fun movie because you take away that supporting cast, which I get like was part of like the narrative decision was probably because like Miles doesn't need them anymore because he came into his own, but not needing someone for your own sake versus needing them for an audience is different in my opinion. Because like I forget the actor's name every single time, but it's Nick from New Girl, that Spider-Man, the one that's like showering in sweatpants and disheveled in the first movie. Without him in the second one being like a major character, like he's there for a little bit, but nowhere near as much. Really hurts. And no Nick Cage noir Spider-Man, like not having that made me like that movie less.
I'd be okay if there was like a spin-off of just him as a Spider Noir.
Which I think they're working on a show. Maybe I think I read that at some point that they're going to do a noir show.
I think it'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like, and I can't imagine it would be that hard. I mean, it might be. I don't know that art style. I don't know if like once you've learned how to do it, is it easier to replicate it, or is it like each time is hard? Because I would imagine it's more of like a learning curve, and then you kind of go, okay, this is how we make it look like that. Got it, and then go from there. I'm trying to think. Like, I guess we have Hellblade 2 coming out soon, but that's not been really getting a whole lot of marketing, which people have been concerned about online. I am fairly concerned myself. Not seeing trailers for a game that's like one of your big flagships now is a little jarring. Like it's not like on the same level of like Halo, but it's like it's an exclusive. You should be pushing it because that's the era we're in now. It's exclusive or nothing, which sucks genuinely, but Sony kind of set the terms for this one, so we just have to play by it.
Yeah, I hope that Xbox can start getting some winners here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I'm really hoping this next Call of Duty, like with Microsoft owning Blizzard Activision, they're like, hey, you guys are gonna work on something good.
Right.
Not what you've been giving us.
But the thing that sucks is even if they do for the next 10 years, PlayStation will get them the same way. So
Yeah, because they have that deal.
right. Which, I mean, admittedly, it could have been worse. We gave them a deal offer originally before the court ruled in our favor. saying that we would give them all Activision Blizzard games for the next 10 years. And they were like, no, absolutely not. And then they signed the one for the COD only, which admittedly is like the biggest thing. I mean, the best thing that they could grab would be COD. I mean, because you're not going to see anything out of Blizzard for a while in terms of new titles, I don't think. We're not going to see an Overwatch 3 in the near future, maybe ever, depending on how that shapes up in the next couple of years. The best thing I guess we could get would be World of Warcraft on console. That'd be cool.
I'd be okay with that. I just feel like we're getting farther away from, or at least my drive to want to play that game is like decreasing as I'm getting older. I remember when I was like a couple years ago, I really wanted to play it. Now I'm like, yeah, I'm okay if I don't play it.
Right. Like,
Would like to play it.
if
It looks cool.
if we had the option, would you?
Oh yeah, probably. Because with Xbox, we wouldn't have to pay the subscription either.
Right.
I think that would be a big part of it.
The only thing that I could think would be the reason why they wouldn't want to do it is either A, just the raw development time to get it kind of up to par with what's currently going on in the PC version. I don't know if they'd try to make it crossplay, or if they'd maybe just, honestly, you could just do like increments like World of Warcraft's done for the last 15 years or whatever, where you kind of have like, just bring us to version 1 and kind of bring us through the motions in waves to kind of get us caught up to where PC's at. I'm really not too versed in how that game works in its more intricate levels in terms of like characters level. I don't know if there's been expansions that have reset you, made you create a new character, all that. I know they've like gotten rid of parts of the map, brought them back, brought in new areas, all that, but that's all I know. But I wonder, like, is the reason why we might not do it besides the dev cost would it be seen as a competitor to ESO, which is already proven to be a fairly big cash cow for Bethesda and now Microsoft.
Right. The best MMO on Xbox.
Yeah. With a, steep competition with Black Desert. And Neverwinter is not bad.
I haven't touched Neverwinter.
Surprisingly pretty good, I would say.
I really like the designs for Black Desert. Like I thought like the art was pretty cool, but you can't win a game with only art, unfortunately.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, the art style is very cool. And I know I don't know if we talked on a podcast about it or just in our own time. The amount of classes that they had and then added to that game. I mean, it was like, I think our total count was like 40 something.
It's a huge amount of classes and like customization you could do. It was just so confusing to play.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy hopped on and we're like, all right, what are we supposed to do now? Like, it's not very beginner friendly. Like, unless you know what you're doing or have someone to help guide you, it is not very beginner friendly.
Which I'll say, like, that's again maybe part of the strength of ESO is stuff like they guide you fairly well. The fact that you could choose various starting points. Now do the new starting position instead of just being you're always in Cold Harbor. That's a good change. Much more beginner friendly. The quests are fairly straightforward to always kind of know where your next direction is. Black Desert, I felt discombobulated off the rip because I was like, well, the marker's right here, and it's like, but there's nothing. It's just the middle of a field. And I'm like, okay, do I kill stuff here? And I looked around, there's nothing. I'm like, what do you want from me? Like,
yeah, it's hard. Like, I know MMOs aren't for everyone, but there should at least be some helping.
Right.
At least guide you for the main quest.
Yeah, guide you for the main quest, and then like if you wanted to make a game that is like intentionally like not very guided and very much an open-ended question type of game, that could work, but you have to design it very particularly to where by natural exploration and general curiosity, the players find the narrative, the fun, the content, Black Desert was just literally the starting area is like a field with a couple trees in it. It's like, okay. Or at least it was. I'm sure it's probably like in the middle of a volcano now or something.
More than likely.
Yeah, they're not for everyone, but I do think having some options on each platform is good. So I think, yeah, if we maybe wanted to bring World of Warcraft, as long as you don't have to pay for it and you could play, like, or like you don't have to pay for like a subscription, you can just play it. I think that would be a really fun little addition to Game Pass and whatnot. Because, yeah, Blizzard, I mean, yeah, what else are we looking for in the next 10 years other than Diablo 5? More than likely.
From Blizzard, probably Probably not much.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things where like we acquired someone who yet again hasn't really turned anything for us. Like when we bought Bethesda, and I don't know why it wasn't an immediate thing to be like, okay, we own Obsidian and Bethesda. We're remastering Fallout's 3 in New Vegas, kind of bring them up to snuff while we kind of gear and retool what they were working on to something that's better for our future. Because you would have sustained the companies and Xbox really quickly with those remasters. Not to mention made the fans very happy. Same goes for like Oblivion. Definitely needs a remaster to kind of bring it up to Skyrim uh, technicalities and visuals, but they didn't do that. Instead, we got Starfield, and Outer Worlds wasn't even an exclusive, and I don't care if it is or isn't because it wasn't very good. So that's what we got for buying those companies. Because Obsidian, I don't think has had a game come out since Outer Worlds, unless I'm missing a very big one and I'm not aware of it.
No, I believe that's the last one that they've had.
Because I know Avowed is like their next entry, which like it looks good. People are shitting on it really hard for not knowing hardly anything about it. I don't know anything about it, and I think it looks cool. Uh, fantasy RPG, whatever. Something to hold you over till Elder Scrolls 6, which kind of why I'm hoping we like kind of retool some Bethesda time. I know it's been a long time, and I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but they've been spending a lot of time on Elder Scrolls 6. Just let them spend a little bit more time. You let Avowed kind of be like a little bit of a placeholder. Let Bethesda kind of maybe kick out, like a Fallout thingy, or someone else kick out a Fallout game in the meantime to kind of break it up because, Fallout's on top of the world right. Well, not on top of the world, but like probably the most popular it's ever been since the show.
Oh, yeah. That's without a doubt.
I think like doing something like that might help by giving them a little bit more time because like you can't tell me it would take Bethesda more than a year to realistically remaster a game that's already done. Maybe I'm being ignorant, but with their amount of people and the fact that the game's already written, to just bring up the visuals to like Fallout 4 engine, Creation Engine 30.100, whatever the edition that we're on now, to me it seems like that's a fairly easy ask. And maybe use outside studios to like if you use Bethesda and Obsidian together, would that make it possible to get like New Vegas remade in a year? And if that's the case, I think it's worth it. Because it's not like you have to do voice acting. I know that's a lot of the tedious stuff is getting the voices in, getting all that. It's literally just bringing up the animations and texture quality. That's it. Like,
Right. No, I think Xbox could really turn it around if we remaster the Fallout games. We
mhm.
completely rejack, revamp, redo, whatever you want to say for it. Gears of War.
Yep.
I first couple games of that series, phenomenal, really good. Took everyone by storm by like how gory it was.
Yeah.
You got a chainsaw on your gun. How cool is that?
Not to mention how it's like slow and different the combat was for that time period as well.
Yeah, it wasn't like a fast FPS compared to like
Mhm.
Halo, Call of Duty. It was a slow, like I don't want to say strategic, but it was kind of in the middle at that point, like a strategic
Yeah.
shooter, but not really.
Yeah, you had to worry about cover and all that.
Cover, yeah. If you weren't in cover, it's a wrap for you. You
Yeah,
weren't in
you're done.
cover.
But like,
I think Xbox has a chance to really take things by storm here if they were
mhm.
to switch up some things and not lay off their employees.
Well, I mean, again, the only one I'm gonna have to defend here is Tango Softworks. They're the ones who made Hi-Fi Rush, which was like a breakout success. So I'm a little upset by that one. I'm a little confused because that is one of the titles that we just offered up on a silver platter to Sony. We're still not quite sure what the reasoning is there because Sony is definitely not going to reciprocate because that's just how they are. Um, but I get the idea. It was like it wasn't meant to be an exclusive, so it wasn't. I don't know, but it's weird because like they made that, which was very successful, critically acclaimed. Enough people played it. It was on Game Pass, so they're like in the people's conscious right now. To them, just get shut down feels wrong. But also before that was like their Evil Within games. I didn't like them. They feel like a poor man's Resident Evil, so I could see maybe that also kind of being some of like the financial burden is maybe like because I know the second one didn't sell very well. They might have already been in the hole by then, but we don't know.
That may have been it.
We just don't have enough of the like internal documents to be able to accurate, or at least we don't. Our Odd Horizons offices aren't blowing up on the hotline or anything, but we don't have those documents to confirm nor deny that might have been the cause.
Yeah, we're not in touch with Microsoft yet for them to give us the down low, but don't worry, we plan on getting there here shortly. You can give everyone the inside scoop.
I'll get Stephen Bill's phone number.
I'll become a descendant of Bill Gates somehow.
Then you can deposit your money at his own bank that he created, because that's legal apparently.
He has a good credit card. I'll do it.
I'll say, hold on. Actually, before I say that, without any foundation, I'm 99% certain that's what he did. I don't want to allegedly. That way, no one gets in trouble. No, it might be a charitable foundations industry. So allegedly, there we go.
I see. Allegedly, that happens, but you didn't hear it from us.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure. Oh no, it is a bank. They just do. I think most of the interest that they generate gets used for charitable stuff. I think. I don't know. Too much to look at right now.
Right. But I think with that, we are going to wrap it up. We're not going to have such a long episode as we had last week.
Mm-hmm.
Got some stuff going on. Hopefully, we're going to be getting some more stuff going on.
We will have a pretty cool announcement soon.
Yes. Yes, we will. And if you watch this episode and you haven't watched the previous episode, go back, rewatch them. Watch how awkward we were episode 1. Come back now, we're talking just fine. See how far we've come.
Yep, get caught up.
Always appreciate the views, no matter if you were day 1 or day now. Any view is a good view. But that wraps up episode 15 of the Split Screen Experience. As always, I'm Harmon, joined alongside
Andrew.
We'll see you next time.
See you, everybody.